This is Mac OS Ken.
Another sky-high target for Apple shares, a long look at mixed reality and Apple Vision Pro, and a trippy trailer for an Apple TV Plus series. It is Wednesday, the 19th of June, 2024. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by ExpressVPN. Get your money's worth and get an extra 3 months free when you sign up at expressvpn.com/macosken. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macosken. JP Morgan analyst Samik Chatterjee has a new price target on Apple shares, one that is nipping at the heels of the target set by Wedbush analyst Daniel Ives. Apple 3.0 ran part of the note Chatterjee wrote. That's got the analyst raising iPhone expectations by 6 million units next year and 7 million units the year after that, driven by upgrades for phones that can handle Apple Intelligence. Chatterjee indicates that he's actually playing those numbers conservatively, incorporating slow replacement rates relative to the recent 5G cycle, AI upgrades taking a full 2 years to get going, and the fact that last year's Pro and Pro Max models are apparently already ready for Apple Intelligence. Here's the thing, though. His new price target only takes into account iPhone upgrades. Chatterjee's note says he and his also envision further potential upsides in the form of upgrades to the iPad and Mac devices from AI-led capabilities. So why didn't he put that in? Whatever. Mr. Chatterjee has an overweight rating on Apple shares. He used Tuesday's note to raise his 12-month price target on the shares from $225 to $245. Let us turn our attention now to virtual reality, augmented reality, and a mixture of the two, starting with a release Tuesday from market tracker IDC. They say global shipments of augmented reality and virtual reality AR headsets kind of sort of cratered in the first quarter of this year, dropping 67.4% versus the same quarter a year earlier. At the same time, the average selling price on such devices rose to over $1,000 as Apple entered the market, and incumbents such as Meta focused on premium headsets such as the Quest 3. In terms of the top sellers, Meta stayed in first. Apple, with only 2 months of availability in only one country, bounded into the second spot. ByteDance, Xreal, and HTC rounded out the top 5 according to the release. Here's the thing, though. The way IDC's it, Meta and Apple are kind of kickstarting interest in and understanding of these various realities. According to the release, both the Quest 3 and the Vision Pro helped educate users and entice developers to create mixed reality content, blending the digital and physical worlds. This looks like bad news for the strictly VR hardware, but good news for AR and MR devices. The piece has Jitesh Abrani, research manager worldwide mobile device trackers at IDC, saying, with mixed reality on the rise, expect strictly virtual reality headsets to fade in the coming years as brands and developers devise new hardware and experiences to help users eventually transition to augmented reality further down the line. Meanwhile, extended reality displays are set to garner consumer attention as they offer a big screen experience today while incorporating AI and heads-up displays in the near future. Meanwhile, Ramon Lamas, research director with IDC's augmented and virtual reality team, says while prices for AR/MR devices have always been higher than strictly VR hardware, they will be headed down. Looking ahead, says Lamas, we anticipate ASP erosion across all products because the overall market is still in its early stages with more expensive first and second generation devices. Prices will be high even as early adopters buy them. In order to reach scale in the mass market, vendors will need to reduce prices on later and upcoming devices. With that bit of information, we turn to the information. Actually, that's too expensive for me. We turn to a couple of sites that highlight the information, Upload VR and Apple 3.0. They've got the information saying that Apple has suspended work on the next version of Apple Vision Pro. Instead, focus is being shifted to a less expensive, less feature-rich Apple Vision device. Now, I hate to do this, but I do have a couple of problems with this story. First, it is hard to believe that Apple has one team working on both, or really that Apple wouldn't have more than one team on this project. Like, is there one team that makes the MacBook Air, the MacBook Pro, the iMac, and the Mac Pro? And maybe it's different with headsets, I don't know. The other issue I have with this story, it apparently comes from one person. Quoting the information, Apple has told at least one supplier that it has suspended work on its next high-end Vision headset, an employee at a manufacturer that makes key components for the Vision Pro said. Heard it from a friend who, heard it from a friend who, heard it from another? All that said, I have no problem believing that Apple is working on a more cost-friendly, though probably still nothing like cheap, version of Apple Vision for the rest of us. The Upload VR piece points to a couple of stories that say Apple had planned to have a Pro version and a consumer version of the device hit at the same time. I have no idea whether that is the case, though I do believe, as does IDC's Llamas, that vendors will need to reduce prices on later and upcoming devices in order to reach scale in the mass market. More news in a moment, but first a word from today's sponsor, ExpressVPN. I'm kind of blown away by the way Netflix and other streamers work from one country to another. Netflix has more than 18,000 titles globally, but only about 6,000 of them are available here in the States. That's like not getting to experience all of an amusement park because you went through the left turnstile instead of the right. Nuts to that. With ExpressVPN, you can see everything the streaming services you are paying for have to offer. Here is how. Fire up the ExpressVPN app on your Mac, your iPad, your Apple TV. Choose the country from which you wish you were viewing. Refresh your streaming service. And watch like you were watching where you wish you were. Titles behind various paywalls here in the US are on Netflix in the UK. I'm paying for Netflix, and with ExpressVPN, I am getting what I am paying for, streaming in HD with no buffering. You can too. Stop paying more for less. Get your money's worth at expressvpn.com/macOSKen. Don't forget to use my link at expressvpn.com/macOSKen to get an extra 3 months of ExpressVPN for free. Rated number 1 by sites like CNET and The Verge, EXPRESSVPN, expressvpn.com/macOSKen. Here is something you don't hear often. The European Union is cool with Apple. Probably. In one respect. After some prodding. The Financial Times says the Cupertino Company and the governing body have come to terms over NFC and Apple Pay. Back in 2022, the European Commission, the muscly bit of the European Union, charged Apple with violating competition law. The report says regulators had argued that the tech company was preventing competitors from accessing tap-and-go chips or near-field communication to benefit its own Apple Pay system. Apple proposed concessions in early 2024, including free access to its NFC technology on iOS devices and without having to use Apple Pay or Apple Wallet. Now, secret peeps tell the Financial Times that those concessions are good enough for the EC. Apple is said to be ironing out the details, though the secret so-and-sos say a settlement is likely in the next few weeks. And isn't it great that these crazy kids are finally getting along? Well, not so fast. Apple Insider highlights an appearance on CNBC by EU Antitrust head Margrethe Vestager. The piece quotes her as saying, "We have a number of Apple issues and I find them very serious. I was very surprised that we would have such suspicions of Apple being non-compliant. I can say this is not what was expected of such a company. Of course, we will enforce exactly the same dedication and with the same top priority as with any other business." If you're wondering what the concerns are exactly, well, that gets to be a surprise. While refusing to detail the issues, Apple Insider had the exec indicating that an announcement would be made, hopefully soon. Apple's not going into artificial intelligence alone. It wants to take developers with it. To that end, the Cupertino company on Tuesday announced new AI training for students and alumni of its global Apple Developer Academy. Geared for participants in Brazil, Indonesia, Italy, Saudi Arabia, South Korea, and the US, Apple says former and current students will benefit from custom-built curriculum that teaches them how to build, train, and deploy machine learning models across Apple devices. Courses will include the fundamentals of AI technologies and frameworks, core machine learning and its ability to deliver fast performance on Apple devices, and guidance on how to build and train AI models from the ground up. The new curriculum is expected to kick off this fall. For a film about racing, there is nothing fast about the Brad Pitt Formula One feature coming from Apple Originals. The Cupertino company issued a press release announcing a release date for the still untitled Joseph Kosinski-directed feature. It's got no name, but it does have a plot. Kind of. According to Apple, Pitt stars as a former driver who returns to Formula One alongside Damson Idris as his teammate at APXGP, a fictional team on the grid. The feature has been shot during actual Grand Prix weekends as the team competes against the titans of the sport. Has been shot, is still a year away. It will premiere in theaters and on IMAX on the 27th of June, 2025. You know, we first heard about this movie in June of 2022. Not since the full-on Apple television have I talked so long about a thing about which I cared so little. And finally today, a decidedly trippy trailer for an upcoming Apple TV Plus series. Cupertino streamer issued a press release Tuesday teasing the Natalie Portman, Moses Ingram drama, Lady in the Lake. Apple's description of the series says when the disappearance of a young girl grips the city of Baltimore on Thanksgiving 1966, the lives of two women converge on a fatal collision course. Maddie Schwartz, played by Portman, is a Jewish housewife seeking to shed a secret past and reinvent herself as an investigative journalist, and Cleo Johnson, played by Ingram, is a mother navigating the political underbelly of Black Baltimore while struggling to provide for her family. Their disparate lives seem parallel at first, but when Maddie becomes fixated on Cleo's mystifying death, a chasm opens that puts everyone around them in danger. Now, I've read that description a few times over the past couple of years, and nothing about it prepared me for the trailer released yesterday. I know trailers are meant to entice, but this one makes the series look like a mind. Not Black Swan trippy, but really trippy. The first 2 episodes of the 7-part limited series hit Apple TV Plus on Friday, the 19th of July. New episodes will follow one per Friday through the series finale on the 23rd of August. The release says Lady in the Lake emerges as a feverish noir thriller and an unexpected tale about the price women pay for their dreams. If you want to see what they mean, the trailer is up now on YouTube. macOS Ken, brought to you by me. and sponsored by ExpressVPN. Sign up for a year and get an extra 3 months free at expressvpn.com/macOSKen. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media. Online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. info@macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.